Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are live! How are you gentlemen doing?
Benchmarking this, man.
Dude, I about fucking started that shit off to empty air because I had my mic muted and shit.
He ain't been like talking, no one heard.
Yeah, I would be like,
yeah, but at least you didn't forget to hit the go live button like a certain someone.
That's a good point.
3 minutes. I was like, oh,
shit, was that you, Scotty boy?
No.
That was me.
That sucks to have that happen, dude. Oh no.
We did that once.
Yeah, I
early.
remember. We did
that once real early, and then like we lost a couple of shows when Maya was hosting, like back when we were on the Realm channel. Like we lost like full shows because of like some kind of glitch.
It's crazy.
Like, we recorded it offline, and then like for some reason OBS didn't transfer it to YouTube, right?
That's what it was. I remember OBS. The OBS.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. It was a bitch, man. There was always an issue. It was crazy.
The days.
Remember, mine had that shitty ass internet too. That was like, didn't help much. It's like, oh god,
the internet sticks.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's probably way better now because they live in probably a better place.
Yeah.
I mean, back then it was just terrible.
Well, I think they stayed in the same town and just went uphill a little bit.
Yeah, but you know what? It's better than being downhill where the shit all comes down to you and
all rolls.
And his bad internet.
That is one thing, dude. Like, Case got me paranoid now, especially since I smoked some. Fucking that storm coming up the fucking Gulf, Milton. It's gonna smack the entire west coast of Florida.
Oh yeah,
that's a bitch. That's
it's gonna be at least a category 2 when it hits. Is what they're saying.
It's gonna be some flooding.
Yeah. So like, ooh, it says my internet's fucking up right now. But I'm supposed to be like above the floodplain, but you never friggin' know. And this is goddamn Florida.
Yeah, but
hey, listen, if I could survive a category 4 in Barbados, man, come on, it's a category.
Hey, you know what? That's saying something in Barbados for real, because I mean, dude, seriously,
he was out there challenging the storm.
I was like Michael Jackson in Earthfall.
When I was a kid, we were in the Bahamas. One of the trips to I took the Bahamas with my mom, and I remember us having a big ass storm in the Bahamas. We were stuck there for like 3 days, couldn't get out because it was like the water was surging up and shit. And I'm like, Mom, are we gonna drown?
It's a little island, man.
It was freaky, man. Yeah, it was.
Island's not made of like lava rocks and stuff. Like it's weird. It's a weird island, but
not fun. All I know is island plus hurricane. It's not a good.
Bad juju. Bad juju
for sure.
You're gonna be all right down there, Nick. You'll be all right.
Yeah, at least you got one way you can go this land. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Just keep going north.
Yep.
Knowing Nick, you end up in Cleveland or Boston.
Take a bunch of gummies. Go to bed. Wake up and.
It'd have been Cleveland. What a shit show. Anyway,
that's a fact.
See the burning river and shit. Anyway,
during the blizzard of 96, it is right. I think that's the right year. The blizzard of 96.
Yeah, I remember it well.
I got smacked by it twice. Okay, the first time I got smacked by it, we were camping.
Oh wow!
The night that it dropped.
Where were you camping at?
North Groton, Mass.
Jesus Christ!
Out in the National Forest.
Yeah.
And
like, just not pay attention to the weather or something. Like,
it wasn't supposed to hit that far inland. It was supposed to get like fucking like swallowed up by the Boston Harbor and shit.
That storm was fucking crazy because it ended up not doing anything that the weather guys were predicting. It was kind of crazy.
We were basically buried in our tents.
Yeah, no shit. Wow.
And so we hiked out of there and got out of there, and the roads were okay and everything.
Yeah.
And then I got home to my foster's, and the next day, it swirled back around and hit on the Cape.
Yep.
So then I woke up and I rolled over and I felt something wet. And there was water up to my bed down.
That's crazy.
Fucking A, man. Yeah,
so I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, the fucking weather forecast said, "Oh, we're just gonna get a couple more inches." Yeah. When the storm decided to do its loop around, yeah, we ended up getting like another foot. I was pissed. I was like, "You motherfuckers!" I told my I'm never trusting them again.
Because it was the winter and we were camping up in Massachusetts, we did we did deadfalls with the fucking the tarps. You tied tarps up over the tents and shit.
Right.
So we did that because we didn't want to die. Because because it's winter in Massachusetts. But we were totally unprepared, but we made it out fine.
I can't believe you went camping. It was whether it snowed or not, it was cold as shit. Had to be cold.
That's fun though. Have you ever been camping like when it's really cold?
No, I would never will go camping when it's cold. No.
Well, I'm not asking you, Eric, because this is some white people shit.
I'm glad you said it. WPS all day.
You know what? Touche. You got some point there, but this white boy ain't doing that.
Yo, I used to do fucking polar bear plunges off of fucking Provincetown.
Listen,
I did that shit 1 year.
Training for lifeguard training, but never for just shits and giggles. We had
right.
You gotta know what the water feels like if you want to go save somebody. You can't be shocked by the water. You gotta get in and get to it.
Well, the other thing is every year up on the Cape, there was still a big population of Greek people. So I think it's for Easter, they go diving for the cross in the bay. Yeah, they do that in Cape Cod Bay or some shit too. I forget because
fucking nuts. Dude.
I wasn't Greek Orthodox, but those boys are in their skivs, like fucking what do you call them? Speedos, basically.
Speedo.
Yeah, it's no joke.
I'm all about the Jesus life, but even Jesus wasn't that crazy. Come on.
Nah. Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna go one step further and say Jesus would laugh at people doing that shit.
Yeah, like these idiots, and don't be doing it in my name.
Yeah, he'd be like, don't put that hell on me.
Now, see, I don't want snow anymore, but I will tell you, I miss cold water.
Yeah,
because down here, man, you go to the beach.
Yeah.
It is like
anytime in the sun, it's like a goddamn bathtub. Yeah.
Yeah, we moved to Maryland, and I was 8 when we moved to Maryland. I'd never seen snow in my life. Like I'd seen pictures of it and shit, but I've never actually seen it, and felt it or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I got out, and I was excited. I wanted to go play in it. I was happy. And Mom, I was out like 5 minutes or so. I came back and I said, "Mom, I don't like it. It's cold and that, and I'm wet. I don't want to live here no more." I said, "I want to go back to the hot weather."
Yeah, listen, I live in a state that gets pretty cold, but my brother lives in Minnesota, and it's terrible.
Oh, Minnesota's got to be crazy, dude.
Yeah. Scott knows.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, I love the winter, and I'm down here in freaking Texas now, but I love the winter.
Yeah.
That's got to be beautiful weather. You're probably going to be hitting like 50s and like Thanksgiving and shit.
I think it's beautiful, and the high is like 89 to 90 during the day, but it's like perfect for me because I'm like after spending a summer of over 100 or half a summer of 100 down here, the 90-degree weather feels great.
Yeah, it feels like a breeze.
Yeah, you're like, this isn't too bad.
Yeah. But my position has always been, if you're hot, you can't take off enough clothes to get cool.
That's a good point.
But if
that's
you're
a good
cold,
point.
you can always put on enough clothes to stay warm.
Yeah, you can
speak for yourself, buddy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, bro. Like, we can only take off so much when we're hot, bro.
Right.
You know?
I mean, listen, when in Miami, do what Miamians do. So, I mean, shout out to Miami. I'll be down there at the end of the month.
Man.
Oh,
I love Miami, bro, and it's crazy. I'll be down there at the end of the month. Me and my wife will be celebrating our wedding anniversary, and
that's cool.
I'm gonna be half-ass naked, if not fully naked, on the bed.
I can goddamn guarantee it.
I know, man. I when I was a kid, my cousins took me to a beach, and it was a topless beach, and I was like, I didn't know what to do. I kept asking them. I said, "Why are they not wearing any clothes?"
He goes, "That's normal." That's normal. The other ones that are not necessarily normal, but you can get to them.
I think I was like 5, and he's like, no, it's okay, man. It's natural, man. It's fine. I was like, so take our clothes off? No.
So both my biological and my stepmother really like to embarrass the fuck out of me when they meet Kate, right?
Good.
So my biological tells Kate a story about I'm at Hampton Beach with my what do you call her, godmother, and her name was Linda, and she was beautiful.
Listen, Linda.
And so she was sunbathing topless, and I was a little 5-year-old boy. And so I got caught staring, and Miss Linda said, "Is there anything that you'd like to say?" And I said, "Yes, you have very nice breasts, ma'am."
Nice.
Listen, Linda.
Hey,
Linda.
Hit her up with a compliment, dude. It always works. Get you out of trouble.
I mean, yeah.
That was me at 5, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a little more naive at 5. Yeah, at that point, my mom was doing her level best to protect me, but I had cousins that would subject me to all kinds of shit. So
I was probably just hungry.
It's like yummy lunch.
And then I got older and discovered the ham cheeks, and it's been over ever since.
Yeah, man. Dang.
Can I get to the yams?
Got to do it.
Oh,
man, I
So what's going on with so funny. This pay-per-view thing?
Bad Blood?
Jesus. Did you watch it all, Russ?
Yeah, I watched it all. Yeah.
Okay, give us a breakdown of like a little bit of what went on, and then we can talk about the end.
Okay. So the first match was the Hell in a Cell match with McIntyre and CM Punk, right? Yeah. Well, CM Punk won.
Fuck.
There was like blood everywhere, dude. They bled badly. Like, I ain't kidding you. It was especially McIntyre. Like, Anna swears that she thinks he cut himself like too deep. There was blood just coming out of his head at one point. It was gushing out. She's like, "Oh, he fucked up." And there were just blood stains all over the place. They were both covered in dried up blood and shit. It was nasty as shit, dude. It was gross. But man, they did all kinds of stuff, man, to each other. He poured this run in this bag. McIntyre brought in this like little black bag. I thought it was gonna be like thumbtacks or something. Usual lame shit, right? Yeah. He pours out. It's a bunch of those little blocks that have charming letters and shit on them and things like that. You could
like CM
make
Punk's
bracelets.
Bracelet, yeah.
Right. Pours them all over CM Punk, and then in the very end, when CM Punk wraps his knee up with a chain because he's getting ready to go to sleep on McIntyre, right? And McIntyre already kicked out of it twice, so he's ready to put that motherfucker down. So he grabs a handful of these fucking charms and shit, and he shoves them in McIntyre's mouth.
Yeah,
picks him up and.
Everybody was saying it was a tribute to Danhausen.
Yeah, I guess.
Hey, is Danhausen still in AEW?
No,
No.
But he's been doing a lot of independent shit. He was down here. I just didn't get a chance to see him.
Yeah, he comes to Detroit a lot, Ferndale specifically.
Yeah, I know he's been doing a lot of dates though. He's been getting around, but well then I mean that match was crazy. I kept telling Anna I thought they shouldn't have done that one first because I thought but then it was blood all over the ring. And Anna said, she goes, just hold up. She goes, they're probably going to clean the ring up. I said, they can't clean it. She goes, well, they have a new cover. And I didn't think about that. And then sure enough, they kind of waited a few minutes and then they recovered the ring, I guess, with a non-bloodstained cover. But
well, I think UFC was doing that first too, right?
What
like changing the octagon cover in between because of blood?
I think so because
they
had some UFC fights where blood got pretty nasty too.
Yeah,
so I'm sure they were doing it, but that probably is where they got it from, or WWE got it from. But and then they had the Nia Jackson Bailey match.
Okay, and
that was kind of a. It was good until right up until that dumb little bitch Tiffany Stratton, the Money in the Bank chick, came down, and I guess she was gonna cash in on Nia, right? And then Nia caught her. Like Nia did one of those sit-ups like Undertaker used to do. I'm like, oh my! So she's trying to play it off, and Nia just beats her ass, throws her out the ring and shit, and
I like.
And then Bailey, I thought Bailey was gonna win, but Nia ended up beating her, so I don't know. Nia Jax's a boring champion, so I thought they would probably give it to Bailey, but I guess not.
Well, the thing that you look at is who's going to be chasing her.
See, I think they're setting it up for that Tiffany Stratton bitch to win the title. That's why, and they're gonna have her cash in, and
anytime you have a heel champ like that, it's never to make the heel; it's always to make the face.
That's true, but it's like, I don't know. Maybe Bailey will get the belt back through Tiffany. I'm not sure, but they really like Tiffany Stratton. The WWE likes her. Triple H likes her a lot, so he's probably going to push her to the moon. So that match went kind of the way I didn't think it was going to go, but oh well. They got me anyway. So I was like, ooh, they tricked me. Oh no. They had the shit. Trying to remember what the next match was.
Terror Twins.
It was it was what's his name? Finn Balor, against Damian Priest. That's it.
Yeah.
And that was actually pretty good. I like that. I enjoyed that match. Damian Priest, they were kicking out of each other's like fucking finishers and shit, man. Well, no, not each other's finishers. Like Damian Priest kicked out of the coup de grace like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, what are you doing, man? You're not supposed to kick out of that move. That's not supposed to kill you. It's really dumb with you. I mean, if a dude jumps from the top rope and just lands on you feet first on top of your body, you are not getting up. They're not supposed to get up.
Yeah.
But
that's like the one bad thing about the Triple H regime is they are not going to protect finishers.
They really aren't, because I mean they even had somebody kick out of the RKO.
Yeah,
and that used to be the one nobody kicked out of, man.
I mean, if we being honest though, Triple H comes from that era where they used to kick out of finishers. I mean,
that's true.
Like,
that's a good point. They were the ones that started
the rock bottom and the stunner all the time.
So then they would hit you with the 2-4, right? So like the rock bottom into the people's elbow. Or Stone Cold would hit you with like a that Lewis press, and then he'll hit you with the and then the stunner. Like that's what he comes from, that era, man.
Yeah, it's like a combo, like a finishing. Exactly. It's a good point.
Yeah.
But I will say the match was good from the point of view that I think they had Damian win and go over on him, but Finn still looked good in it. You know, it still made Finn came out okay on it, I think, and of course the other, you know, the doofus came and got involved. What's his name? JD McDonough and
yeah,
Carlito. That's one of my favorite wrestlers, by the way. Carlito's cool. I like him.
Carlito is
cool. Yeah, old Carlito was really cool when he would take the bite out of the apple and spit it in people's face. You can't do that. I don't think you can do that anymore, but that was good times back then. But so you know, Damian Priest ended up winning that, and I mean it was cool. I'm glad Damian Priest won that match. They need to put him over. He'd been getting his ass whipped a lot. They need to do something. Then there was the Rhea Ripley and the Liv Morgan match for the title, and poor Dom my boy got put in a cage and they raised it up in the air, and I was like, oh no, Dom is in a cage.
He's such a little baby.
I know he's my favorite wrestler right now, though, man, because he's the best heel I've ever seen. That guy does everything to get heat. It's great. like you can't help but to hate his ass, right? Just because he's just a fucking douchebag.
As soon as you look and you see that mullet, you hate him.
Oh, dude, the mustache too. Oh, it's a beautiful mustache, but it just goes right along with his character. You're like, oh, it's a dirty mustache. He's like Dirty Sanchez, man. That's great.
There are a few haircuts that tell me all I need to know about a person. A mullet.
And a mullet is one of them, bro.
He's got the dickhead mullet too. It's just even worse. Like all mullets are bad, but his mullet it has a little extra. What a fucking asshole, you know.
Yep,
but
I'm with you.
During the match, you know, they go back and forth, and finally, Mommy starts beating Liv's ass real bad. Takes Liv outside the ring just so Dom could get a really good view from up in the cage, you know. And Dom ends up opening the door of the cage, which is weird, right? They're gonna lock him in the cage. Why wouldn't they have the door locked, right? Kind of odd, right?
Yeah.
Then he gets close to the edge of and they had put a chain. They chained him in the cage, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So of course they set it up so that he could fall out the cage, and he's hanging there, dangling in the air, upside down. So Rhea Ripley could, you know, go over and grab a kendo stick and beat the fuck out of Tom.
I'm gonna have to watch that shit
while he's, you know, and while Liv's laid out, you know, all fucked up, and so when and look, I mean, she was really beaten, which kills me. Like, she doesn't even tell the referee. She goes, "Hey, don't worry about counting right now. Just give me a second. I'm gonna go out and handle some unfinished business." That's what she said.
Oh, her and Dom are
okay. Out? Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, and she acted like the jaded ex-girlfriend too. Fucking Live up in front of Dom's face. It was like so just when she's beating the fuck out of Dom, out of nowhere, fucking Raquel Rodriguez, that's her new name. Raquel Rodriguez comes out of nowhere, knocks Rhea on her ass and just fucks Rhea up. You know, of course, ref calls for a DQ, and then I guess she rolls up and she helps Dom get down and goes into the ring to check on. She gets in the ring and, you know, fucks Rhea up some more, and then helps Liv up. Make sure. Remember, her and Liv were friends. Remember, back in the day, they were tag team champions together and shit. So I guess she's out there. I think she's the newest member of the Judgment Day, because they were talking about a new member of the Judgment Day was probably going to be coming on. I guess it's her now. So
this is why I don't watch anymore.
Well, you can't have a match anymore without like somebody interfering, dude. There's always somebody getting involved in matches now. Yeah, and then the last match was probably I think it was my favorite one, was with Roman Reigns and Cody against
so how did Cody get knocked out or whatever?
Well, Cody ended up jumping from the top rope. He had what's his name, the werewolf, the
Fatu.
Jacob Fatu, had him laid out on the table.
Yeah,
and Cody jumped from the top rope on top of him on the table, just to take him out. And then I left Roman in the ring with Solo, and Roman pretty much fucked Solo up. But then, of course, was fucking him up, and he was about to end the match, and then the other two idiots showed up and started getting involved, and he kind of, they thought they finished him. Solo tried to pin him. Roman kicks out naturally, and and then, well, it's funny because like Roman's down on the laying down. Solo kind of knocked him on his ass. He turns around and you see the two dum dums standing there, and Solo's pointing to him. He's like, "Look behind you! Look behind you!" And there's this dude in a fucking hoodie, shady ass hoodie with a bandana. Right away, I'm like, "That's got to be Jimmy Uso." I knew it was him, man. they're not looking at him like, "What are you talking about?" It was so funny how it seemed like they made him kind of dense. Anyway. They turn around and Jimmy just fucking beats her ass. First, they looked at him and were like, they're staring at him for a minute.
Yeah,
he just goes to work,
Super kick party.
Yep. Super kick goes and beats their ass. Hops up in there, and it was after it was all said and done. He hops up in there and he's all loyal, his loyalty to Roman and shit, and then so Cody rolls up in the ring afterwards and. Roman kind of let him be. Roman's like, all right, we're cool now. I'm gonna roll out. Well, while they're leaving, the Solo and the rest of the fucking group rolls in the ring, start beating the fuck out of Cody Rhodes.
So
which I thought was funny.
Bloodline split, because that's where I got lost at. When did they split?
Well, after Roman lost the title at WrestleMania to Cody, they Solo came out and kind of took over as the new. Well, first he was saying that he was Roman was talking to him and telling him what to do and stuff, but really he hadn't been talking to Roman, and it was just him taking over, like slowly taking over for Roman, moving himself in that spot. So he said, so then eventually he kind of declared himself the new tribal chief. Roman's gone. I'm the new tribal chief now, right? And he brought in. Some of the other Tama Tonga and Tamaloa and Jacob Fatu,
and kicked out.
Yeah, they kicked out Jimmy because Jimmy had loyalty to Roman, and they were like, "Nah, fuck that. We gotta get rid of Jimmy. Jimmy's gotta go.
Jimmy gotta go.
Yep, Jimmy gotta go." They fucked up Paul Heyman too. I'm waiting for Paul Heyman to show back up again, as always. So, but they
have you heard? All right, so basically, at the end, The Rock shows up, and
The Rock, it's The Rock,
and
showed
there's
up,
your fucking pay-per-view. But like, the fucking rumor is that this Janelle Grant lady, I believe her name is going to settle with McMahon soon. And when she settles with McMahon, they've already got the plan for how they're going to do this. It's going to be fucking Paul coming back with Brock, and Brock doing a program with that part of the bloodline.
Against Solo and them?
Solo, Tonga, Tama, and Jacob.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, boy.
Boy. I mean, I see what you're saying. The reason they gotta wait till it's settled out is because she named Brock Lesnar in her lawsuit.
She named Brock in her lawsuit
as he was the one that
one of the people that she was gifted to, shall we
say. Vince was telling her, "You suck him off or do whatever he wants you to do." Yeah.
Oh, damn it, Russ! Like I try to have some tact.
I'm sorry. That's kind of what that's what he said though. I mean, she was like, he offered her mouth up for oral sex all the time.
Yeah, he offered her mouth up as wild.
Jesus Christ! Do I just let him keep going to see how far the fucking shit goes?
All right, I'll shut up. God, I'm like, okay. He offered her up for sexual favors. How's that? Is that better?
Yes.
I mean, that's better than what Jimmy did.
Better than the wildness of offering up her mouth.
That dude said he offered up her mouth, though. That's wild work, bro.
I thought that was as generic as it could get, but whatever.
You know what, Russ?
Jeez.
Here you go, Russ.
Stop it. Get some help.
A good message from the one and only GOAT.
The great one, man. The great one.
Don't start that shit tonight, Scott. Don't start that shit.
Oh yeah, let me stop. That's a good point.
Lucky I don't.
Yeah. Oh yeah, one of the great ones. How about that?
One of is better than the.
Yeah, because if I say the, I mean people do get all spitty about it, you know. Everyone's got their own fucking player they like. The LeBron people hate it. My son gets
okay. So,
y'all got 5 seconds to move on. 5 seconds.
Anyway, that could be fun if they bring in Brock Lesnar. Though I think that'd be cool. I mean,
I just don't know how he would fit though. Like, I mean, and I get they've had other people who are not of Samoan descent in the bloodline. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
so like, Brock being Heyman's right hand man, why don't he just come out?
No, he's going to be against them.
Yeah, he'll be against them.
Heyman, Roman doesn't need Heyman anymore.
Okay.
Roman can talk good enough on his own now that he doesn't need the buffer of Heyman. Brock always needs Heyman to talk for him.
Yeah, because when Brock tries to talk,
if he comes back though, he's gonna go against Jacob Fatu and all of them.
Yeah.
But my point though is Roman's also against them, so I don't want them teaming up. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but imagine what an unbelievable team up that would be.
Well, that'd be OP.
Good God. I mean, damn.
Brock's very, very close to the end of his career.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, like, like, as much as we, quote unquote, don't want to see it, I could see it happening. Like,
well, Roman, he could have Roman take up most of the match, you know.
Yeah.
Most of the heavy lifting, I guess, you know. And have Brock just come in and do a few moves and be done. That's about all he can do nowadays. So,
yeah.
Oh yeah. I forgot about the Goldberg part, dude. I forgot about the other part. So Triple H, I can't remember where it was, but Triple H came out and introduced it. They're going to have a Crown Jewel. There's going to be the Crown Jewel events once a year. They're going to have the champions of each brand are going to go against each other. Okay. And the champion that wins is going to get this Crown Jewel title that they're going to have. So they're going to have that title, and it's going to be like they're the champion of champions, you know, kind of like thing, right? And for the men and women, we're going to have that. So while they're doing that, what's his name? I can't. Yeah, Gunther, that's him.
Okay.
Gunther comes down. I can never remember his damn name. He starts talking shit about, you know, Triple H is going to be raising his hand. He's going to win it and all this stuff. And he notices that Goldberg is in the front row with his son and his daughter. Or no, not daughter, but his wife.
Yeah.
Looks. And he starts talking shit to Goldberg. He says, remember when I told you were my favorite wrestler? He said I lied. He said, how could you? How could a no talent has been? Starts calling him all kinds of shit about Goldberg, right? And then he gets Goldberg's son is there. By the way, his son got big, dude.
Yeah.
Pretty good sized kid. I was like, holy shit, man. Well, boy, been hitting the gym or something. But he tells his son, he says, hey, man, hey, kid, I hope he's a better father than he was a wrestler, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, Gunther's has been really stiff with people, man. Like, he gets away with a lot.
Yeah, I love it. I like when he talks shit like that, though. Because, you know, Goldberg was never a really good in-ring worker. He was trash, dude. I mean, damn near killed Bret Hart. Yeah. Yeah, it was just big, and everything he did hurt, so it looked like it hurt. He called Goldberg a one-trick pony, which I thought was great. So then his son starts whispering, saying something to Goldberg in his ear, and Goldberg stands up, comes over the barrier, he starts taking his jacket off. He's like, starts kirking out, I'll beat your ass. And Gunther's like, come on in here, come on, I'll take it. Security comes down, and they're stopping Goldberg from getting in and everything. Well, while Gunther's all distracted by Goldberg, fucking Sami Zayn comes in the ring and fucks Gunther up. Hits him from behind and beats his ass really good. Him and Gunther are they're separating them out, and then they're, going up the aisle, and he comes and chases after Gunther again, fucks Gunther up again, and so then Triple H brings Goldberg into the ring and holds his hand up, and gives that's Goldberg do the whole climbing up on the top rope of shit, and the fans go crazy. Goldberg, dumb shit.
That's my dog. I like Goldberg.
Yeah, then he goes down and he goes back with his son and shit. It was kind of cool. I thought it was neat, but Anna was like, "They're not gonna have him do anything, are they?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "He's old, Russ. Last time she said the last match he was in was really bad."
Yeah, that Undertaker shit.
Yeah, that's the last time Anna saw him. She was like, he was really bad. I don't think they're gonna have him like wrestle or anything. I think they're gonna probably have him talk some shit. I thought they might have him have a little scrap with Gunther, but I guess not. They don't even want him doing that. They're like, "You're just ancient, dude. No more for you."
Oh man.
But yeah, that was most of the pay-per-view pretty much. Wasn't nothing crazy.
Before we get into Scott reading another Justice League story, I want to talk about what DC did this week. For their comics. DC has had their Absolute Power event going, where Amanda Waller has been taking over the DC universe. She has herself 7 Amazo robots. And what they do is they suck the powers out of the fucking superhumans, so they don't have them anymore, but the robot does.
Oh, fuck. That's not good.
So it's like they had some new villains they created for this, like the Brainiac Queen. She infected Superman's son, Jonathan Kent, made him like a Borg Superman Brainiac thing. It was really cool. Wow. They had, they fucked up all the heroes. Like Superman lost his powers. All sorts of other people lost their powers. So in a Batman issue that is tied to this,
okay,
they had Batman steal the mother box from the moon. Well, that's connected to Apocalypse. It's Apocalyptian technology. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, a mother box starts.
Was a euphemism.
So the mother box starts pinging on the moon, and Darkseid shows up. So Darkseid shows up, and it's just Batman and Catwoman with this mother box trying to get it back to Earth. So they open up a boom tube, and they are able to get it back to Earth. So then they go on with the rest of the crossover, okay? What ends up happening is, they beat the Amazos through a MacGuffin. Green Arrow's involved and all this other shit. So the powers are returned to the heroes. Some of them get different powers than what they had before. So, I think ice and fire switched powers and stuff like that. So there's stuff like that going on. There's going to be some new books coming out of it. So they ended Absolute Power, and they did in the same exact week something called All In Special. Okay? Mm-hmm. This takes up absolutely immediately right after Absolute Power ends. Okay? The heroes have their powers back. They're talking about, we need a new Justice League, blah, 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 blah. Well, everybody forgot back in that Batman issue that Darkseid woke up and was like, what are these Earthlings doing with my shit? And then you find out Darkseid basically has corrupted the Spectre, because they did some miniseries that was other related to this, okay? So Darkseid is now bonded with the Spectre, who is DC's personification of the Wrath of God. You've probably seen him. He's got the green hood and cape and the white body and green skivvies. Big, serious dude. So it's Darkseid to the nth degree. So he ends up tearing a hole in the universe. with his scythe weapon. And what ends up happening is Darkseid goes into this universe and he's able to affect it as it's being born. So it's born of him. It's born of a darker energy, So this is going to be DC's Ultimate Universe. They're calling it Absolute DC. So you're going to have the first 3 titles are going to be Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman.
Okay, start off with the Trinity.
So the Batman isn't rich.
Boo.
Like he's a big dude. Like I can't. Like he looks like Reacher. Like that's what it is, and like the weapons are a lot pared down. Like it's not going to be Batman with like a Lamborghini Batmobile and shit like that. He's got a fucking battle axe that is this metal fucking bulletproof plate that's on his chest, and that's the bat symbol. And he takes it off and puts it on a pole and beats the shit out of people with it. Superman's costume, the gloves and cape and boots are like kryptonite. They're the last embers of his planet.
Oh.
So we don't know how that's going to go. Wonder Woman, same kind of origin, like Diana from the normal DC universe, except she's raised in hell.
Oh, like Hades?
No, like hell.
Oh, like real hell.
Yeah, so like the Amazons were defeated in this world, and so there's
Holy shit.
It's its own mythology, just like Marvel did with the Ultimate Universe back in the day, and now the new one, that they pulled out. So it's a good place. Like, in all honesty, to get into it, you need probably to read about 10 issues of comics before you read any of the new series coming out, and that's it.
God, boy, I tell you what, DC does not really set shit up, don't they?
Yeah.
You have to do that with the Ultimates from Marvel. Like it was its own separate thing, its own standalone.
Yeah.
Get right into it.
Well, see, like that was the thing was like when Marvel made their Ultimate Universe, they said never shall the twain cross. They ended up doing it later, obviously, but like when it first was created, that was their thing. In this, they're saying, "Oh no, we want both of these universes to cross."
Yeah, they love the multiverse stuff in DC. People talk about Marvel, but it's very prevalent in DC.
Oh yeah, definitely it is. Hell yeah.
The thing is, it's Scott Snyder writing this Batman too.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, and he's the guy that did like Court of Owls and all that shit. Joshua Williamson, the guy doing the G.I. Joe stuff right now, and he'll be doing the ongoing book, is doing Wonder Woman, I believe.
Well, I'll tell you, being the new comics kid on the block here, I feel like Captain America in the first Avengers when he said, "I understood that reference."
Yeah.
When you talk about the motherboard.
Mother box, yeah.
The mother box? Yeah, the mother box. The euphemism. Because I actually seen that in the Tower of Babel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll see that.
Good segue.
The mother box is
Scott.
it's pretty prevalent in a lot of DC stuff that has to do with the Justice League and Dark.
Yeah, anytime something like they need a MacGuffin, because it's apocalypse technology.
Yeah, that's the go-to, right?
Yeah, mother box it.
Because what was his name? Orion.
Mm-hmm.
Orion was carrying it in Tower of Babel, right?
Yeah, he keeps one on him at all times. Like
that was amazing.
That was a good segue. Did you see him on his scooter thing or Orion?
Yes, eventually.
So even that has a mother box built into it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm gonna let y'all talk on that, and I'll jump in from time to time on that.
So yeah, we had Scott read the Grant Morrison Justice League to start off with as just like, you know, an introduction to DC Comics, you know, a good way to do it. And then, you know, figuring out like another Justice League story that kind of builds off of that, especially, you know, because of who the writer was. Grant Morrison wrote the first run that we had Scott read, and now Mark Waid wrote these issues that we had Scott read. And the reason that the first issues even came out that Mark Waid didn't with this was because he was the editor on Flash, and so Grant Morrison was writing Flash at the same time as Justice League. So he was getting behind on Justice League, so Mark Waid was writing fill-in issues for Justice League for Grant Morrison. So this collection was actually kind of interesting to me because it had some stuff before the Tower of Babel story. It had those fill-in issues that Mark Waid did at first. Did you feel that those were like necessary to have it in there like that, Scott? Or did you feel like when you got into it, like 43 through 46 would have been enough?
So it's interesting because I had this as part of my notes. Let me put them real quick, and I'll scroll down a little bit here. So the three kind of there was this is called the what you had me read was called the Ultimate Edit, right? And I assume it was like, hey, we're gonna put all the parts of what leads into this Tower of Babel here, so that you have the backstory.
Right.
However, reading through it in the way that I did, the probability storyline, the enslavement storyline, and the White Martian storyline, which is three storylines that came early before the Tower of Babel in this Ultimate Edit.
Yeah.
Outside of Batman's kind of like propensity to keep secrets and Superman's somewhat having an issue with it, I didn't really see where those three storylines kind of tied in.
Yeah, me either. They were like, it just felt like they included them just because Waid wrote them.
Okay.
That's what it felt like to me.
I'm glad I'm not stupid then, because I kind of felt stupid. Like, I actually went back through the other three to say like, what did I miss about this?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because like there was all this like, okay, so the probability thing, it had all of these like, this is super not likely to happen, but it's happening, you know, because of whatever September, bullshit, and there was a lot of like catastrophes, and then there was in the first part of one of the stories, something about the Huntress, you know, having to deal with all of the on the ground shit that was a outcome of these catastrophes, and the government deciding that effectively Gotham was going to be no man's land or wasteland.
Yeah,
effectively. And that seemed like a whole storyline that could have been explored, and then it was kind of like dumped. Maybe it was more in the issues that weren't represented here.
Yeah. There was a whole Batman crossover. They did. I'm not exactly sure on my timeline, but I believe it was the next big thing they did after Nightfall.
Okay.
Where Nightfall was where Bane broke Batman, and then they had, you know, Nightfall, Night Quest, Night's End, and all of that stuff. Then they had Prodigal, where Dick Grayson was Batman for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I believe the next big thing was No Man's Land, where there was an earthquake that hit Gotham. Well, the United States government decided, you know what? We don't think you're worth it anymore, Gotham. So they cut Gotham off. Like, they fucking, in the Dark Knight, like, blew the bridges and all that shit.
Jesus Christ.
And left Gotham on its own. So that's, like, where, like, that story takes place in time with what was going on in Batman.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm glad. So, okay. Good deal. All right. So I do have a few like notes from those three storylines that might
definitely
tie into the Tower of Babel. Is like, all right. So Plastic Man is a Mr. Fantastic knockoff.
Plastic Man was actually around, has been around longer than Mr. Fantastic.
Okay, so Mr. Fantastic is a Plastic Man knockoff.
No, I don't think you're right on that one, Nick. I think they were within earshot of each other, but I don't think he's been around.
I think longer. Plastic Man was in the 40s.
I think Plastic Man.
Was he really?
So.
I'm pretty sure. Let me find out.
Okay, no, let me do that. Y'all finish.
Okay. So that was kind of one thing that I took away from it was like, first of all, they didn't even tell me who the guy was for the first, like half of the read through. I was like,
1941.
Wow. And then Mr. Fantastic.
1961, I believe, was the first Fantastic.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you go. Family. All right. So kudos to DC. But yeah, they didn't say what his name was, so I'm like, oh man, like I was like in my head it's like Mr. Fantastic knockoff, and then finally they like called him Mr. Plastic Man or Plastic Man in one of the like halfway through, and then there's a Thor's hammer in here.
Yeah.
Like that's Thor's hammer. That's Mjolnir.
They steal from each other all the time, dude. I'm not surprised.
There was also a crossover where they had like literally Superman lifted Thor's hammer.
Yeah, the JLA versus Avengers shit. And
absurd.
They had a really good reprinting of that recently after George Perez died. I
missed that.
Yeah, they're saying it's never going to be printed again.
Really?
Stupid.
I mean, I think this is part of the fun of doing this with you is because I am coming into this like completely not having read anything ever, and so my only interaction with them has been the movies.
So that's interesting, like your viewpoint coming into it, because like you've seen the Marvel Fantastic Four stuff, so you would have seen Mr. Fantastic first, and
right. And then, of course, in these first three storylines, before we get to the True Tower of Babel, Orion shows up, and for me, he not only, I mean, obviously, Mr. Plastic Man was brand new, Huntress was brand new, Orion is brand new, none of which receive any kind of like backstory in this story, right? Because this is where I'm jumping in. Yeah. And so I kind of like Orion was more of a mystery to me than the others. It was like, okay, a Huntress is just kind of like a Batgirl knockoff type of. I mean, that's the way it came across to me. And then of course, the name Adam Strange. It's like because of course my introduction to comics is Doctor Strange, right? Strange, and so I'm like, who came first, the chicken or the egg?
That one's a good question. I don't know. I think Adam Strange came in the 50s.
Okay.
Because those science fiction DC characters are really hard to figure out. Let's see. Go ahead.
That's good.
58.
Okay. 68 for Adam?
58 for Adam Strange, yeah.
58 for Adam. And what about Steven?
He's got to be probably 63.
Okay, so Marvel kind of took a page out of DC's book for a while. Was there? I'm assuming DC was kind of like 63. The comic book in the early times, and Marvel came later. Marvel's strength came later.
Basically, DC started off with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Marvel started off with Captain America, that's good. Captain America, Namor, and the Human Torch.
Okay.
So, like, DC had those icons going forward, and Marvel didn't. So, Stan Lee, the story goes, he wanted to try to make one last go in comics before he was going to quit. So, the publisher of Marvel was friends with the publisher of DC back then. The publisher for Marvel was Martin Goodman. And so they were talking on the golf course, and the subject of Justice League came up, and it had been a really good seller for DC. So Martin Goodman came back to Stan Lee and was like, "Hey, look, we want a team book, and you're gonna go do it, and we're gonna fight DC, and it's gonna be all you." So he came up with the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
And so that's that's considered the first Marvel comic, because that's when they were called Marvel Comics. Back in the day, they were called Timely. They got the name Marvel Comics from the first issue that they did. It was a comic book called Marvel Comics had them.
Yeah.
Nick, you are a wellspring of knowledge, sir.
Brain full of useless shit.
All right. So I really appreciated this. That beam that teleports Adam Strange, right? He effectively, his backstory is he got teleported to Alpha Centauri, effectively, and he met his wife, all that good stuff for the whole enslavement storyline that this had represented. The when this whole thing ends, basically he gets teleported back, and the Justice League guys are talking about how he's going to be teleported back separately from them, because he's teleported back to the place that he was when he was teleported there.
Yeah.
And for me, what that connected to immediately was John Carter from Mars. And I was like, I really appreciated that, like, inspiration, because that's obviously they lifted it straight from John Carter.
Yeah, a lot of like those early like science fiction heroes like Adam Strange, and even stuff from like Batman and stuff, were lifted straight from the pulps.
Yeah,
a lot of Batman was lifted from the Shadow.
I felt immediately like, that's cool. That's yeah. Anyway. Let's see. Between issue 32 and 33, there was a jump where Flash at the end of 32 was incapacitated due to the nanites, and then 33 starts off with him somewhere on a mission and not answering his comms.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that. I think I know that comics have these little side stories that they go into, but it's like, guys, really?
I think it was a bad choice for me to tell you to read this collection of it, because I didn't realize what the fuck they were doing until it was too late, because I just started reading it today to, refresh my mind on it. I didn't know that they had put all this extra shit in. But yeah, like some of the... I love Mark Waid as a writer. He did Kingdom Come, which is a very famous, DC story.
Superman.
Yeah, Superman and Batman. Yeah. But these issues, besides like the main story, are not his best writing.
Okay. Yeah, it just seemed discombobulated. It just didn't seem to flow, and it was like, that's, to me, that's a huge part of storytelling, is to be able to kind of follow the storyline,
have it congruent.
Yeah.
But
of course, having the only for anyone who may be watching, the only actual interaction with comics I've had is the IDW Transformers series, and they do a little bit of that, so I'm not completely unfamiliar with kind of jumping out, following a different storyline for a while, and then jumping back in. It's just, it makes it difficult when you're trying to read a congruent storyline, to know where should I go for the next part of the story, effectively.
Right.
All right, so a couple of last. One question. Horse and chariots Wonder Woman is using, they kind of look like the Invisible Jet, and kind of operate like the Invisible Jet, which is the only thing I'm familiar with Wonder Woman, because of course it's out of the TV show from the 80s that I watched.
Right.
Lusting after
Linda Carter.
Yeah.
This was basically during a time they were bringing her closer to the Greek god stuff of her origin, and switching out the invisible jet for a chariot that she got from Hermes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So that makes sense. It also makes the joke that Flash uses about her telling saying that she got her speed from such and such god, and he's like, "Oh, that explains why you're so slow." You know.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I have to say, like, I really enjoyed this Plastic Man posing as Barda's dress.
Oh, dude, that is such a classic fucking thing. And like in this new climate, a lot of people, say that's a creeper thing.
Yeah.
It was a lot more of an innocent time.
Exactly why it's funny.
So Russ, in this, the lead up to this, do you know who Barda is?
Yeah.
Okay. Plastic Man becomes Barda's dress.
They're going undercover to confront or capture supposed Bruce Wayne, right? And you see her in this red dress, and she's like, I don't know where this, because somebody makes a comment about it being part of a dress, and
right.
Like, I don't know where it came from. It was just delivered to my room, and then you can see her thinking about it for a second, and then she grabs him around the neck.
Oh, nice!
It was entertaining.
Yeah, that's right. Plastic Man could I remember that now about him. He could his power was he could form himself into shit, right? I mean, when I was a kid, I remember that. Yeah. All right.
So that kind of that's all my notes from before the actual quote unquote Babel timeline starts.
All right, cool. So now we get into the meat of this shit.
Yeah. So number one, I had no idea who the green villain was that wanted to kill half the planet until halfway through the thing when somebody calls him Raz. And then, of course, it instantly clicked for me, Ra's al Ghul, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a thing. And what I guess I wanted to ask is, do you think that Feige and friends took inspiration for Thanos' motivation from this storyline? Since considering Thanos, I said earlier that the only interaction I had with comics was IDW. That was a lie. Mm-hmm. Actually, I have read the Infinity Gauntlet series.
Mm-hmm.
And so my understanding of Thanos was from the comics was that all his motivation was because he was chasing Poontang with death, right?
Right.
So do you think Feige actually took the motivation for Thanos in the movies from this representation of Raz?
It would make a lot of sense because, like we said, and like you demonstrated with your questions earlier, like asking, Plastic Man or Mr. Fantastic, stuff like that. Like who came first, Namor or Aquaman, stuff like that. They steal and repopulate each other with ideas the same ideas all the time.
Yeah.
It would be a reasonable thing to suggest because Rosh was a really popular character in Begins. People loved that Liam Neeson portrayal of him.
Okay.
But isn't that Thanos more of, so you got Infinity Gauntlet, you got Infinity War, and then you got one more. It was Infinity
Crusade.
Something. A Crusade. Isn't that he's that one from in Crusade, right? More of that one than he is from Gauntlet.
No, well, they basically, if you remember what ended up happening when you first see Thanos in the Marvel movies, he's chasing Lady Chaos.
In the comics, yeah.
No, in the movies.
Because he smiles. Somebody mentions.
And then. Then they met, and then I think it was Corvus Black that was talking to him, or he had some underling talking to him, and then it was they talked about the Avengers.
It's to court death.
It's to court death, and then he smiled too. So they completely changed his motivations in so it went from this whole thing where you thought that it was going to be closer and they were just switching out a term or whatever to him actually going and being oh no, this is a completely different thing. We're going to everything because, you know, it has nothing to do with death. It has to do with the resources and, you know, the balance and shit like this, you know?
Yeah.
Which was exactly what Rosh is doing in this, is his reasoning in this comic. Basically, what we're talking about again, guys, is Tower of Babel. It's a story where Ra's al Ghul steals Batman's protocols for defeating the Justice League. And Rosh is using this as background in order to hatch a scheme where he's going to set humanity back to the Dark Ages by transmitting a signal that makes it so that you can't read the written word because of how it's affecting your brain.
That was phase 1.
That was phase 1.
Phase 2 was they couldn't communicate with one another verbally.
What's up, Walter? Yeah.
Walter? What's going on?
It's the Walt.
So, yeah, interestingly enough, I think that, I mean, Feige definitely took the right turn with Thanos. Yeah. I think it made him one of the best villains in the series, outside of Loki, because obviously with Loki's whole arc and everything that they finished up. But and it was, I think they kind of dabbled in the waters with was it Helena, Thor's sister, of like there was somewhat of a character of death type of like archetype, if you will.
Hell
and
yeah.
Definitely brought the chaos aspect.
Yeah, and she just you couldn't take her very seriously, right? Like the only way she worked is in a Ragnarok style movie, because it was just a little too cartoon-ish, if you will, of a villain. And so I think he took the right turn with taking Thanos away from like chasing and courting death to his motivations. So anyway, I really appreciated that about Ra's al Ghul, and kind of like instantly thought very similar to probably why some people are fans of him and this storyline is that it's the motivations make sense. And then of course I didn't get, or I have no architecture or framework to understand Talia's like what her love for Batman, like where it came from or anything, because of course I'm jumping into this storyline.
Okay.
I do have, of course, the third installment of the Christopher Nolan Batman films to know that she's there, but obviously that's not her right representation.
Well, I'll ask you this: did you see Batman animated series?
No.
Oh my God. Okay. You probably are better off watching that than trying to go read in the comics where they fell in love, well, quote unquote, because I think they do a good job of giving you a brief synopsis in 2 episodes. Is that piece, and then it shows the connection to Ra's and kind of why he is around and why he's choosing Batman and whatever. But would you agree, Nick, that little two episode arc in Batman animated series?
That would, but the thing is Son of the Demon is now canon in DC.
Well, yeah,
because of Damian.
That's right. You're right.
So,
I forgot about that.
But that doesn't really explain how they fell in love, though.
Son of the Demon, yeah, it does. It has Damian's conception in it.
Oh, the comic, yeah.
But what you're talking about, that story in Batman the Animated Series was amazing. How I forget the voice actor they got to do Rosh in those episodes, but it was really good. What I would say is the Batman the Animated Series stuff is a lot easier to digest, and it gives you pretty much the same information.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I will refrain from watching the animated series because I feel like that there's so much to explore on what we're doing here, and I'm kind of having fun with this. So I'm let you tell me what I should read next. But
the thing is, it's really easy to explain. Basically, this is one of the early Ra's al Ghul stories. It's called Son of the Demon, and Ra's has found out that the Lazarus pits are losing their power over him. they're no longer going to be able to power his resurrections because he's used them so often throughout the years.
Every time he used them, a little less of his ability to come back happens.
Was this represented, the Lazarus Pits, was this represented in the Arrow TV series?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I now have a frame of reference now.
Okay. And so he's looking for an heir. And he's come across Bruce Wayne and Batman before, and he's connected the fact that they are one and the same. Mm-hmm. And he thinks that who in the hell in the world can be a better heir to me and carry on my work than the Batman. So he takes him out, and David Warner was doing the voice of Rosh. Thank you, Walt. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so they go ahead, they have a sword fight. Rosh has poisoned his blade, and so he's beaten Batman. So they decide, he decides that, even though he used the poison blade and beat him, that Batman could be his heir. Batman doesn't want any of that shit. Mm-hmm. Him and Talia have a night full of passion.
Yeah.
One fucking 2-3 issue miniseries and done. Never hear about it again. Until the 2000s when Grant Morrison comes on Batman and decides, hey, you know what? Yeah.
No, that kid.
Yeah. That kid, he's around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's 10 years old. And he's grown up, and all that he's done is train with Ra's al Ghul in the League of Assassins.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right.
Making him the world's most dangerous 10-year-old.
Within the first 2 issues he appears, he beats Tim Drake into a coma.
Yeah, that's true. And then,
there's that.
And he goes toe to toe with Dick Grayson and holds his own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big thing. He basically goes toe to toe with Nightwing. You know, as a 10-year-old. So know from jump, this little 10-year-old kid is business.
Yep.
Yeah. He's a bad little motherfucker.
Go ahead with your next point, Scott.
So, I appreciated the episode leading up to the comic
issue.
Issue leading up to this power babble, where it kind of set Batman and Superman on this whole hey, you got secrets, and Batman was like, you got secrets too, and Superman effectively, Batman cuts off the conversation, but the Superman makes it known he's not okay with this.
Yeah.
Right. And then it does lead well into this whole Tower of Babel series, where Batman has all of these effectively, what do you want to call them? Counter plans for if one of these
contingency plans is what they are.
Yeah.
Contingency plans for if one of his superhero buddies goes rogue or goes evil or whatever.
Yep.
And so then as this is all happening in the storyline, and Talia is kind of going back to explain how she captured this information and fed it to her father. I really appreciate. I thought that was a well done way of telling the story, except for the bio cards, where it goes into the bio cards of each of the superheroes, and because it basically explains Batman's thoughts on how he would construct something to counter these guys, instead of just talking about their weaknesses and then allowing Ra's al Ghul to come up with the idea of how he was going to exploit that weakness. It basically, to me, and again, I have no context outside of this story for Ra's al Ghul except for the movies, and so I'm not really associating it too much with that, is that to me it took away some of the agency of Ra's of having it been his creativity that came up to the way to exploit these weaknesses, rather than just a cut and paste of Batman's plans.
Well, he wouldn't have known the plans had it not been for the world's greatest detective, right? So why not use what's already at your resources? Even though Raj is very cunning, very calculated, he's never been able to pull one over on Batman. So he understands that Batman is the smartest person in the world, and he's the only one that knows.
Yeah,
So
I think my point is simply that the bio cards I think were unnecessary, and it would have been better to recognize the weaknesses and understood that Batman had contingencies, but that to allow Roz to have been the creator of these things based upon Batman's information.
Yeah.
He was the one who creatively came up with these ways of exploiting those weaknesses. Would have been a better way to tell a story, in my opinion, because it would have gave agency to Roz as opposed to being effectively all Batman, and Roz is just effectively a no, because of I had no context to Roz prior to the story. It came off as, well, there's nothing to Roz as a character.
And you also didn't have context to the fact that Batman already had this well before they became a bigger group in Justice League. Like, so some of them other members and stuff that you've seen, Batman already had that with the original 7 of them. I believe, right? It's 7 was the original, or was it 6?
Yeah.
I know it was 3.
It's 7. It's 7. Yeah.
7.
The big 7. Yeah. Like the thing that we have to remember about this story is we're always going to focus on, oh my God, they took out the Justice League.
Yeah.
Looking at it from Rosh's point of view, that's just a distraction, just like stealing Batman's parents. So his goal is the whole Tower of Babel, and he doesn't care how he gets it. He just found this other thing that allows him to do his main job. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the way I look at it. But from what you're saying, without knowing the character and having experience with him before this, I would agree. I definitely can understand where that point of view would come from.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, he is basically taking Batman's plans, taking what Batman has built and using it, and not doing anything of his own.
Cut and paste. Yeah. So I think that's about it. Other than the first 3 story arcs that were included in this ultimate edit to come up to were not as impressive to me. Tower of Babel in and of itself was a very impressive storyline.
Okay.
Yeah. Stuff that like, to me, the whole dynamic with Talia, I wanted to make me know more. It wanted to make me know about her, what her backstory is. How did she fall in love with Batman? Why is this conflict? But to have that conflict there within her, like that added an adult theme to this storyline that really kind of, I think, drove it home for me in a bigger way.
Yeah, that is a really interesting. That's a good story with him and Talia, because Talia is an interesting character. I always found her to be whenever I get to read a comic where she was involved, I enjoyed it. And she's really good on the shows too. Any of the animated Batman shows that she's been in, or the movies, they do a good job with her. I kind of like her because she's sort of caught between loyalty to her dad, but wanting to fuck the shit out of Batman. It's really interesting, I love it.
That bat dick always win.
And damn right, man. Yeah. And she usually will. She comes around and says, "If I'm just gonna drag my dad, fuck it. I'm gonna get a piece of dick. Okay."
They've had some really interesting stuff with her lately too.
They have. And
but
she's an interesting character.
Yeah, just going back and talking about the end of this really quick. So after the Justice League is foiled, Rosh and everything, they come back and they have a meeting. And they're like, does Batman stay or does Batman go?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the, I don't know if y'all seen the animated movie as well, Batman Doom, or Justice League Doom. They took a lot of those cues from that. And it was good. You can just tell where they took from this comic.
Plus you for Batman create brother because his mind was wiped.
I don't know what that meant.
I know his mind was wiped in Identity Crisis. But...
Yeah,
you come back. Okay.
Yeah, I'll retype that. I forgot to mention that whole effectively epilogue was super powerful as well. It lent a weight to the story, like that a lot of comics, I think, from my impression of them, don't have, which is that there is no consequences. In the end, it's just wash, rinse, and repeat. And this had a consequence to it that lent weight to it. Like, Batman's no longer a part of the Justice League.
Yeah. And that did last for a bit, actually. They did take it to heart, and, it wasn't just, okay, Batman's back in 2 issues.
Yeah.
And, like, and I believe it was Dwayne McDuffie who brought him back. He's the creator of Static Shock, amazing creator, who died tragically of cancer.
Milestone Comics.
Yeah. Yep. But, yeah.
And I understood Batman's point of view. I don't know how other people would have read this and read this for the first time, but to me, I understood Batman's point of view, and I agreed with that point of view. And so I felt like, hey, why wouldn't you? Considering the previous things that I've never read, but that they alluded to in the story of why he did what he did, it's like, well, that completely makes sense.
Batman.
Well, it made sense to them too. Eventually, they was like, okay, we are the world's powerful, the Earth's most powerful being.
They're like gods.
You talk about like the Marvel movies and stuff. Think about the DC movie. Think about Batman and Superman versus Batman.
Yeah.
And that. Oh yeah, he comes up with that plan for Superman and executes it, and yeah. Mm-hmm. But Walt was talking about Batman got his mind wiped and built Brother Eye. That was some crazy shit too. Batman built a satellite to keep an eye on everyone that unfortunately becomes sentient and fucks everything up.
Sounds like another Brainiac story.
Yeah. So did you enjoy this overall, Scott?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was. Cool. I was a little wandering in the first 3, which is which I kind of like. The funny thing is that I started reading them and I had a hard time getting through them, and so I kind of I think you sent me the link about a week ago, and I read an issue, and then I was like, and then I read an issue the next day, but then I read the entire Tower of Babel yesterday and just consumed it.
Yeah. We were talking about for the next one. Everybody wants to see you do X-Men #1 through something.
Okay.
Perfect.
My only thing, I think that is Maxwell Lord. Okay. Well, I don't know, buddy. We'll have a hangout link for you in a minute while we about to go offline. It's already 11 o'clock. I forget what I was talking about.
You were just saying your only issue with
issue 1 through something of X-Men 1.
Oh, I think you have to read X-Men 300 first. So like it's going to be one of these things where like I'm going to have to figure out a reading order because Claremont at this time is writing Uncanny and then X-Men, and then it switches off between the blue and gold teams and shit. Mm-hmm. So if I go with Scott from like X-Men 1 through 25, that's only half the story and half the team.
Yeah, so that's why I was gonna suggest him just starting at Uncanny X-Men. Just start at the Uncanny X-Men because they do a lot of flashbacks. They talk about a lot of the older team, but they give you a lot of the story going forward, and you get to see the more modern day team in their full iteration. It's not a bad idea to go back and read X-Men 125, but I think starting at Uncanny gets you right in where you need to be, and then you can choose to go back from there.
Yeah. So I've got to figure that out. I'd like to keep Scott on a consistent, pace so that we don't pop this off. So I'm not going to say what we're going to do next for Scott, but it's going to be X-Men related. It's probably going to be around X-Men 1, maybe like those first 6, because that's a pretty tight story. And at this point, Claremont rambles the farther along you get. So that's going to be something we're going to have to talk about too. But like I said before, we're at 11 o'clock. I hope you guys enjoyed our little dive with Scott here into stories to bring new comic readers in.
Mm-hmm.
As I say every week, peace, love, and hair grease. We're out.
Adios, guys.
Peace.
Later.